So welcome back everybody, my name is Paul, and for people who don't know me, I have made a lot of videos for the last 10 or 15 years about a lot of different subjects and just put my 2 cents out there. And one of the subjects that I have covered for a long time in my own personal life was the esoteric studies. I was born in India and I had the opportunity to travel and see some unusual things and some sacred sites in the world, and meet some very interesting people from different religions. So when I got a little older, I started exploring things like meditation, and we used to sit around the coffee house in college in those days, in the early 70s, and talk about things like astrology and Edgar Casey and places we like to travel and Atlantis and all kinds of stuff, reincarnation. And of course I was born in India, so I had got a lot of curiosity about what basically the ancient teachings, because India, as you know, maybe you haven't been there, but it's a very, very, very old country, and what we now know is India is actually part of a much larger region that goes back a very, very long time, and that intrigued me. So when I started learning about the esoteric stuff back in the 70s, I also started learning about meditation, and I got exposed to hear somebody speak. His name is Prem Rawat, and some people who were teaching some of the techniques that he taught, his instructors. And I was very inspired, and I learned those 4 techniques, which I still practice every day. And I have researched and learned about a lot of other kinds of meditation and so on in my life, but I still practice those very simple techniques because they're extremely fulfilling and have answered a lot of questions. Now, not everybody who practices that kind of meditation gets into some of the subjects that I've gotten into over the years, and such the esoteric subjects and the more technical aspects of yoga. And as many people know, there's different aspects of yoga, and yoga means union. So the whole goal of a whole life, basically the concept of a Hindu culture was you're born as soon as possible when you're young. You learn and understand, hey, you're mortal here, but you may have come from a previous life, and here you are again, and now you can do something incredible with this human body, and you can realize, you can experience, and you can have that union with your Creator and feel that ultimate oneness, just like water in a sponge. We can feel our own existence merging and connecting and synchronizing with everything, because we're just part of everything. And I want to share a lot of things that I've learned, because I have a responsibility of learning some very interesting stuff and practicing some unusual types of things and looking into some stuff that most people don't look into. I have a lot to share, and a lot of beautiful things, really, really wonderful, liberating things, because the truth is that the great teachers of the past, like Shiva and Buddha and so on, there's so many beautiful techniques that human beings can use to enhance their life in so many hundreds of ways, and they're not being taught in the West very much. We might get a few of them. There's different postures, and I'm not into that, and some people are experts at that. But the beauty of the path of enlightenment and personal realization is that there's so much variety of human experience, and we all have inner perceptions. And I can't prove anything to you in any way, but I can share some ways of looking at stuff for a while, and maybe you can practice things and learn some techniques of meditation yourself, and you can have your own experience. I have, truthfully, if I were to be really honest, I've experienced some very stunning things, and things that I really can't it's really hard to put words on a lot of different things. After a while you realize, well, you know, there's a lot to know in this universe, but there's also a lot of joy to be felt, and that's really the purpose, and that's very simple. And if you go after that and find the inner joy, right with that inner joy and peace of mind through meditation, there's a lot of questions get answered from different experiences, because the whole concept of the Hindu approach and the Buddhist and the ancient approach, I would just say, just don't put a label on it. The ancient teaching of oneness. Oneness is the cosmic reality. There isn't anything but oneness, and the whole entire universe is based on the brotherhood of oneness. And the more quickly you learn how to start getting in sync with it, and start like being in the ocean. Okay, you can enjoy the ocean, you can swim, you can have all kinds of beautiful experiences in the ocean, And you can get swallowed up by the ocean, and you get slapped by the ocean. So it's all a matter of understanding. And we have a short life, and part of the purpose of yoga is to learn how to live a long, healthy life. And what if we got 10 extra beautiful, healthy years in our life? Imagine, maybe people die now, they've had 10 years of illness. But what if people could live a lot longer and also be a lot healthier and have time to realize and understand and do some serious grasping and feeling of our participation in this cosmic reality? Because the fact is that we wouldn't even be able to sit here talking if it wasn't for oxygen and atoms and hydrogen and everything. So our very existence is a fantastic miracle. We don't often think of it that way, but it is. It's magic. It's totally the highest technology. The thing about this body is, and I mentioned this in many of my other videos, that we have this vehicle. This is just a vehicle, and we can use that vehicle in a different way. If you have the keys to a car, you can get in the car and just not move and just play with the radio or sit there and eat your lunch or something, but you can also drive it. So the whole idea about this human body is learn what is capable, because our normal senses, typically, we get older and maybe the senses are not as sharp, and then different people have different acuteness of sense, but basically we have limits, severe limits on what exists, because we see a tiny, really tiny window of what this existence is. And we have a short time to figure it out. So I find it very useful to take advantage of ancient teachings and to, as Newton said, stand on the heads of giants. Because so much has already been learned, all these problems, the problems of happiness, the problems of awareness and health, and all the issues of life have been taught about for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Psychology is not new. And the esoteric teachings start looking at our own existence as a whole beingness and an integrated part of the cosmos. Instead of looking out at the stars, say, we can feel really, really tiny, and that's we are tiny. But at the same time, we have this gift of perception, and our perception can be sharpened and enhanced, and we can use it in different ways and look at different things. Because no matter how sharp our eyes are, if we're always looking at the floor or TV, we're not going to realize some things. You see, so there's ancient wisdom and teachings about, look, okay, this life is precious, you have it, it's incredible, you got the Ferrari of everything, you got all the options, okay, now use it, live a long, healthy life, take care of it, and start realizing your place in the cosmos, because it's fantastic. Every single human being born in this human body, you have, even if you're crippled, if you're breathing and so on, you can still have an absolutely incredible experience in our own awareness through what's called knowledge. My teacher calls it knowledge, for some techniques of meditation. But basically, that's the ancient tradition, is knowing, not believing, just knowing. And not knowing the good and evil, not in the sense of, there's a Christian teaching, whether, you shouldn't know good and evil and knowledge is bad. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about something that we already know, intuitively, deep inside, we already know. When we're in the womb, we feel the oneness. We feel that's why people want to go to the womb experience, because we were conscious, but our senses weren't active in the normal sense of the word. Although our hearing in the womb can hear, and we can also smell, taste rather. But the thing is that I'm trying to introduce some teaching out here, and I have to use the internet, and this, so I'm not going to try to teach people in a way that here, listen to what I say, and this is what you got to learn. Okay, everything that I've learned in my experience, clarity comes from within, the answers come from within, by putting our attention in the right ways and methodologies, and quieting the mind and getting intuitive downloads. We start understanding ourselves, so we answer our own questions, so we don't have to debate. You see, so we all agree that water is delicious and we love it and all that. We don't have to fight about that, you see. So when we understand that, look, meditation is really beautiful and the inner awareness is beautiful and all that, we can enjoy that and participate in the rhythm of our own existence. So there's an awful lot to get into here, and this is just a little introduction, but what I'm going to try to do is present segments and lay it out there and say, look, okay, here's a lot of symbolism, a lot of numbers, a lot of concepts, and thinking in a different way, thinking of unity and thinking of wholeness instead of division, and including about our own existence, because we are, we're basically, if we look at an atomic level, where's the line, where's the skin, and where does, on some level, if we could perceive it, you would realize that we're just a film, we're just a 3D hologram on some level. We can produce a hologram in light in our own technology, and in a way the cosmos is like a giant 3D printer that is making and sustaining in all these forms that we have, and we're just walking water with electricity, and it's amazing we can even walk around. You think about it. So that's my little introduction here. I'm going to get into some specific segments, and like I said, it'll save me a lot of time. I can't really put a subject like what I'm going to be discussing into any sequence. It's not like that, because the sort of knowledge is, you have to get some core principles, start looking into things like sacred geometry, for example, Nassim Haramein, the cosmic order, and Egyptian, and I mean, there's many different ways to look into this, but I'm going to be talking about the esoteric science. It's about energy, it's about perception, it's about awareness, it's very, very vast, and I really believe that if modern scientists would just listen, just take some different concepts from these ancient teachings, like the rules of oneness and the cosmic brotherhood and all that, just start looking into this one statement: space is an entity, not outer space. I mean, everything, there's space. You can't really define it. It has no division. It's like there's no polarity. There's a oneness of essence that is existing, and we can feel it. And once we feel that, then we have a platform where we can, because real knowledge is based on direct perception and direct understanding and clarity, observation, thinking about certain concepts, observing in certain ways, and having a confirmed, repeatable observation. You see, and many people don't understand that the ancient methodologies from these ancient teachers, they didn't mess around. They didn't believe in theories. They discussed and argued over centuries about some of these issues, but you come down to, after thousands of years, the subject of consciousness is where you start, knowing who we are. What are we? Who's observing here? You see? So I think I've made a long enough video right now, and I'm going to post this, but I appreciate you watching. Share. I'm going to get more technically better in my presentations. I know I started long ago, and some of my earlier videos are very primitive, and I just try to make it simple and easy to produce, so it saves a lot of time. I appreciate. Thanks again for the good comments.